Ladies and gentlemen, I'm MicOne, you're awesome, and welcome to the 12th episode of ARMA Shoutcast. This is going to be a special edition of the show. We're calling it Friday Night Fright. I'm joined by Stardog, and he's here to tell you a little bit about what this event is and how it differs from our normal Friday night fights.
Yeah, so we're calling this Friday Night Fright, and typically we hold our Friday night fights, and seeing as though this is the eve of Halloween, most of our fights tonight are going to be kind of tailored, that spooky setting, a lot of fog, nighttime, that sort of setting. And so we got Friday Night Fright tonight, and our situation here is the defenders, the REDFOR forces, have gained possession of some prisoners of war, and they're maintaining these hostages, represented by the Independents, the green names, at Ghost Hotel. Their tasking is to maintain these hostages for the duration of the match, and for the BLUFOR, the attacking side, their objective is to move in and secure these hostages, and take the possession of these hostages away from their hostile captors, and extract them to a safety from the BLUFOR starting area.
We were just on board with the hostages looking at them. They're keeping them hemmed in a nice corner of the Ghost Hotel. Let's take a quick look at the dispersion of the defenders at this time. Looks like they're keeping most of their forces pushed back into the Ghost Hotel. I like that. With some scouting elements, I see at least 5 guys just to the, I guess this is the northern side of the Ghost Hotel, holding up a tree line on some high ground before they head back in. So this is looking like a fairly decent defense at this time. BLUFOR deciding to take the sea route, or heading by that sea towards the defenders. They got some, I guess, a little bit of uphill ground to work with, but they're not going to be challenged at this point. There's no forward REDFOR elements to really push them on this flank. Now, once they get to the top of this hill, it's going to be a different story, but their approach is somewhat secure.
Yeah, it appears to be a very consolidated approach from the defending side. They've conceded all their front lines, and we'll see if their strategy changes from this point. But it seems like they're content with just kind of consolidating all their forces, maintaining these hostages, the security of them inside of the Ghost Hotel. And I think we're gonna have a lot of CQB ahead of us. It's just hopefully these BLUFORs recognize that REDFOR is not up on their front line, and they've conceded all this ground, and they can get up onto this objective and make the most of it.
Let's take a brief tactical overview. As you can see, this is interesting, actually. It looks like the majority of the alpha elements of BLUFOR has pushed up in the sea route that we were briefly speaking about before, but there is a significant BLUFOR force still at base. What do you think of this, Stardog?
I just heard first contact. There was a couple shots fired. I'm sorry, I was a little bit distracted by that. I'm not sure what they were firing at. I think they were firing at that 2-man REDFOR element that's up on that wall.
Yeah.
The extended most element. I think it was just an initial couple shots saying, hey, look, we know you're there. Seeing if they can force them out of that position. But
now, what do you think of the BLUFOR Bravo elements seemingly holding not very far from their starting location? Now they're starting to move. But look at this, there's a 2-man REDFOR element that is getting pretty darn close to those Bravo elements moving forward. Now, I don't think they'll be able to see each other at this time because of the nighttime and the thick fog, but they are fairly, they're getting closer to each other, and I don't think they'll hit each other looking at BLUFOR's movement at this time, but it could be a nice thorn in the side of BLUFOR if REDFOR decides to attack them from their flank there.
Yeah, I don't see that REDFOR presence that you were saying that was pretty close to the blue.
Yeah, they're just to the east of the Bravo elements. Currently hiding in a bush. Okay. Taking a look at their weaponry, I don't even think they're MMG gunners. I believe they're just 2 riflemen that have been sent out as a forward element.
Yeah. Blue's already closed some significant ground. They've realized that the front line was pretty undefended, but not only that, they're moving under the security of the fog. So really, I think that was the main decision behind REDFOR's defense and consolidating their forces. Because really, if they pushed up onto that front line with the concealment of the fog, BLUFOR really would have been able to close some significant ground anyway. So I understand that decision, and BLUFOR is taking advantage of not only the cover of darkness, but also the fog, and they are moving up on all fronts.
Absolutely. The best defensive position in this scenario is inside the Ghost Hotel, and it seems like the REDFOR are basing the main part of their strategy and relocating the main part of their forces into that hotel. Taking a look at the hostages inside, they're still nice and corralled in a little corner of the hotel with 3 guards currently watching them. Again, the objective of the match is for BLUFOR to secure those hostages and REDFOR to defend. The 2-man element that was currently on that little concrete wall has pulled back a little bit further, nearer to the Ghost Hotel. So it seems like they didn't spot any BLUFOR elements. Perhaps, as you said, Stardog, with that small first contact, they were just scouting by fire, with nothing really, happened to, or at least came of it. No return fire from BLUFOR. So good on them for maintaining fire discipline.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how this plays out, because the lines are closing specifically on what that appears to be the northern flank, with that element that's in the trees on the north side of Ghost Hotel. And it's going to be really cool to see how this plays out with the two different types of strategies here. And contact is not too far off.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right. The unit inside the little patch of trees across from that MSR is nice, and they're I guess concealed. We're looking at a beautiful MMG gunner with awesome lines of sight down that MSR. And towards the route of approach of BLUFOR, sorry, that name is Jay Shelby.
Yes.
There's that element, and I do think that there's another BLUFOR element just a little bit further to the west of that point. That is going to be the main attacking element for these units in the trees. Jay Shelby's got that MSR approach locked down as BLUFOR approaches the edge of the tree line here. Soon, they will be within the line of sight of Shelby's MMG and may just get torn up if they decide to push forward too quickly.
I have to say, I really like Blue's positioning to this point. It's going to be interesting to see if they can execute this. But the way that I see it is that they're going to secure this northern flank. And as they secure that, they'll then move their, what appears to be their southern flank, their southernmost element, up onto that previous wall that was occupied by that REDFOR, and then essentially be on an L shape to the Ghost Hotel, and have multiple support by fire positions all across that east to north side of the Ghost Hotel. And if they can execute it and coordinate effectively, I think they're in a superior position right now, because REDFOR has no way to really react with it other than to just fall back and consolidate within the Ghost Hotel and make the most of that.
Right, and we know that the REDFOR is basing most of their units and most of their effort at defending the Ghost Hotel proper. So, I mean, that's arguably going to be the toughest part of this assault for BLUFOR, and it's one that we've seen failed in the past simply because BLUFOR isn't able to bring all their units into the battle at the same time. REDFOR are able to pick them off one by one from the windows and basically cut down the BLUFOR before they actually reach the inside of the Ghost Hotel. If BLUFOR manages to get a consolidated attack in on the Ghost Hotel, attacking it from all angles, mount a breach of the hotel, which is probably the most difficult part, and start clearing it, that's how they're able to win this game.
Yeah, I'm now watching BLUFOR's advance primarily. REDFOR has already shown us, they've shown us their hand. We know exactly what their plan is. And now I'm focusing specifically on BLUFOR's movement and how they're going to get into position to make the most of this advance. But they are doing exactly as what I was predicting and setting up on all across that north, on the east side of the Ghost Hotel, north by south on that long line to gain the high ground. And it really looks really nice from this perspective as far as BLUFOR's advance.
We see the forward elements of BLUFOR on that eastern flank getting really close to that MSR star, and I don't think Shelby will be able to see them from his current position. There's a small patch of trees that are blocking BLUFOR's approach near that small concrete barrier, so they should be able to get up there just fine.
Yeah.
I'm more worried about Valar's element in that patch of trees if he decides to move forward without support on his eastern flank.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I'd like to see this play out. You know, I keep looking at that northern element, and I'm not sure what the best way to handle this is if you want to start laying out some fire from that eastern flank, specifically that Valar position, and just get their focus on that, and then move that northern element on specifically straight onto that northern flank and just clear out that tree line.
Hey, Star,
that
remember
tree
that?
line-
Sorry, hate to cut you off. Remember that two-man element we were talking about to the
I
east?
see 'em.
They are moving within about 50 or to 100 meters of BLUFOR elements right now. Captain Dreek is probably the closest BLUFOR man to be able to spot these two guys, but they are crouching low. They're being super sneaky, using the fog to their utmost advantage, and I think they'll be able to possibly get back all the way to the Ghost Hotel unharmed.
I don't think anybody was spotted there. They're in defilade from that BLUFOR element, and I think they were just doing some scouting, making sure that sector is clear and that there's no advancing enemy. Unfortunately, they were about, I don't know what that is, 200 meters away from enemy forces, and neither of them were spotted.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's just evidence to the effectiveness and the way fog changes the battlefield at this point, especially in those generally low-land areas where the fog tends to collect.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if fog necessarily was the issue there. I mean, it looks like that they're in defilade just from the terrain. But going back to what I was saying earlier, the priority for Blue has to be securing that hill on the north side of Ghost Hotel, where that 5-man element, specifically with Shelby and that MG, are currently occupying. And they have multiple elements in position to support each other to clear out that position. But at this point in time, it seems as though the entire success of their mission relies on first securing that position.
Yeah, definitely. That's the first step on their approach to assaulting the actual Ghost Hotel proper. And I think they should be able to do it. I mean, it looks like 2 men from that unit on top of that little forested patch are pulling back towards the Ghost Hotel, leaving only 3 units there. There goes another one. It looks like they're retreating from that position prematurely, pushing back into the Ghost Hotel houses to a more defensible position from their perspective.
I think BLUFOR has shown that they're definitely aware of that OPFOR element in those trees. Oh, and they are pulling back.
Yeah,
they're pulling off of that high ground, and they're conceding. So they're just going to consolidate into Ghost Hotel. BLUFOR is going to set up their support by fire, their overwatch positions from the elevated positions onto Ghost Hotel, and then eventually choose a route of advance into breaching and assaulting the Ghost Hotel. But all of the REDFOR forces are going to be maintained in and within 50 to 100 meters around the hotel itself. It's only a matter of time before we start seeing a lot of fire.
Definitely, as we see, this looks like a picturesque assault as BLUFOR are spread out across the horizon. REDFOR are currently consolidated 1 unit just to the west of the Ghost Hotel in some small 1-story or 2-story houses, and the rest of their unit inside the Ghost Hotel proper. Star, I think before the main engagement starts here, I want to get a brief opportunity to try out a new feature where we're able to hear the players within the game. So I think the best spot to do this is to see if the hostages are saying anything to their captors and see if the captors are saying anything to them. So we're going to do that right now.
Hello.
Well, they were saying remarkably little. There was some chatter about just moving around. I didn't hear any words from the hostages. That looks like they're keeping them on a really tight leash in terms of speaking, giving away their position. And
as they should.
What do you think about the strategy of keeping the hostages all corralled in the corner like this rather than spreading them out?
I actually like the way that they've done it. They put them on the top floor, which provides for the BLUFOR to have to cover more ground in order to get to where they are. And not only that, by keeping them all together, you have to dedicate less security to maintaining those hostages. And if you were to spread them out, then that's more guns dedicated onto maintaining that security of those hostages. And so I agree with the route. I don't have any problems with it, and I can understand the reasoning behind what they've done here. It's sound strategy.
Infantry Joe's element have advanced onto that small patch of trees overlooking the hotel that was occupied by OPFOR not too long ago. That unit that was occupying it from OPFOR has again retreated back into the 2-story building complexes just to the western side of the Ghost Hotel. I'm not sure if they'll be able to have eyes on them at this point. It's very dark up there, and
they should definitely be able to see that, though.
Maybe binoculars, with binoculars, perhaps, but with just an iron sight with these riflemen, I'm not sure if they'll be able to get a shot at this time.
Well, they have line of sight. Whether they can identify before there's any fire exchange that there's something there.
That's definitely true. Yeah.
Yeah. That could be a detriment to BLUFOR. If they're unable to realize that they have enemy on that flank and they start just opening up on the Ghost Hotel itself, then they're going to be caught in some pretty bad fire.
Star, looks like the BLUFOR are slowly moving forward and enveloping the REDFOR force. That was a GL, perhaps, that hit amongst the trees of this BLUFOR element. No one was injured or killed in that explosion, but that does tell us that REDFOR knows they're there. There's another GL that went off. No casualties so far.
It's really cool to see the BLUFOR did exactly what we were expecting them to do given the information that we had from the defender's disposition. And now they have that entire high side, the flank from the north to the east to the south, all enveloped on that high ground, enveloping the Ghost Hotel. It's pretty impressive to see.
Coming down from REDFOR onto that BLUFOR element just up the hill. We saw some sporadic fire. They're currently holding off firing at that position, but they definitely know BLUFOR is up there, and I totally agree with you, Star. You see BLUFOR elements itching forward all around the Ghost Hotel. It's only a matter of time before they synchronize an assault into the hotel proper.
Now, the OPFOR on that flank that we were discussing has given away their position. It appears that I would assume that there's already a BLUFOR casualty. There is, and I think it might be Infantry Joe. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you're right. It is definitely.
It could be somebody else.
It is.
I see one body. There might be two, but the OPFOR have definitely given away that they are now on that flank, and there's been at least one BLUFOR casualty, and I expected that it was the team leader of that element.
It was the team leader. Yeah, unfortunately, we see his body right now. So that's going to be hopefully not affect BLUFOR's ability to talk with their teammates over the radio. Hopefully someone from that team does step up and resume radio communications with their squad leader. But again, I just want to briefly state that BLUFOR actually outnumbers OPFOR in this match, and that's done intentionally. That's usually because REDFOR, especially in this position in a CQC fighting inside the Ghost Hotel, tends to have the advantage. And what we found in the past is that advantage in terms of manpower for BLUFOR equals out as the match comes on or advances forward, and it tends to be to produce the best results in terms of fun gameplay and exciting engagements and action and such.
Yeah, that's right. Now they're pulling even more BLUFOR elements up onto that northern side into that tree cluster. It's interesting to see. I don't know what their advance is going to be from here. I feel like now that they've identified that they have enemy REDFOR elements on their west, outside of the hotel, that they may look to secure that region first before trying to advance onto the hotel, which I can understand. But ultimately, recognizing that they have elements outside the hotel on that northern western side would then, prompt me to then say, all right, well, what do they have outside of the hotel on their south by western side? And I would really start probing to see if they have anybody outside, because what we know just by seeing this is there's nobody there as far as REDFOR defenders outside the hotel securing that southern side of the hotel. So really, from my perspective, they should try to identify that, and if it's open, they should start laying out a shit ton of fire, pardon my language, onto the hotel from that north and eastern side and advance that southern element and breach the hotel from that open south side.
Yeah, definitely. We see that southern BLUFOR element belly crawling around, I guess, more, I believe that's going to be the eastern, no, not the eastern, the southern side, pushing around the Ghost Hotel even further, so extending their envelopment and perhaps setting up a similar attack to what you just suggested.
I would really like to see them do that.
Yeah, REDFOR is currently still holding inside their little two-story housing complexes, haven't taken fire or put down any fire in quite a while. Yeah, but that BLUFOR element on top of that rise is spread out pretty well and are in a position to lay down a lot of fire if BLUFOR decides to open up, or REDFOR, excuse me, decides to open up on them.
I think that's what they're setting up for, and in this position, ultimately, how effective it would be, there'd be a lot of exchange of fire. I see it more as a distraction because that northern element, if they try to assault with that southern force, that northern element isn't really in a position to support them other than just to kind of distract the defenders and gain their focus while they try to advance on that southern flank. But
Yeah, the units on that extreme southern flank, they're not very numerically superior in terms of the northern flank. There's only, I think, a team of 6 guys here on this extreme flank. There's a team in the middle with a little bit more than 6, currently holding that center position. But yeah, the majority of BLUFOR are currently holding on this northern side, overlooking the Ghost Hotel, perhaps waiting for the other teams to get in position to launch a coordinated assault, or just waiting for the OFFOR to reveal themselves so they can get a better understanding of where the defenders are located.
Sure. The other thing I'd like to note and point out is that if you look at the advance from that southern element, the BLUFOR southern element, they have a lot of concealment, a lot of tree cover en route to the wall, and then from the wall to Ghost Hotel. And if you were to compare that advance to the northern elements that are up on the high hill in the trees, that is a very steep, wide open slope. And there was really no advance from that position into Ghost Hotel. And I feel like if they should be able to recognize that so that that southern element, which I think is taking fire now.
Yeah,
so that
shots
southern
coming
element
down.
has just
They
gotten,
decided to
yeah,
open up, yep.
They've
so
just
they
gotten
are spotted. But as you said, even still, that approach does offer some great cover down to the Ghost Hotel if they are able to silence or perhaps neutralize the enemy contacts firing at them from the windows.
Yeah, it may even be beneficial for them to just set up on that high hill on the south side of Ghost Hotel so that they have now both the north and the south flanks with elevated position. So either choice is really, and it looks like that's what they're choosing to do. It appears that they've identified the south flank is now a base of fire and a support by fire position, the north flank the same, and now they're advancing that center, that easternmost element, onto the front of the Ghost Hotel.
Yeah, they're pushing forward. They're just along the fence now, looking down to that complex. They see nothing. That MG is nice and set up, bipod extended, looking down to the Ghost Hotel. All that's left for the center element to do is to breach the outer wall and begin advancing to the front of the hotel. Oh, looks like there's some smoke going down. Looks like BLUFOR might be attempting to face a breach right now. Lots of smoke going down in front of the Ghost Hotel on that center flank.
Yeah, I feel like that's a dead giveaway that they're trying to make a push up there. There's not nearly enough going on. There's not enough fire. There's not enough smoke. I feel like there needs to be a whole lot more going on from their flanking positions and their supporting positions, because really, if they identify that smoke, that's a dead giveaway that they're trying to push that to me without anything else going on.
And that being said, the front of the Ghost Hotel features many, many windows that BLUFOR can fire out of and attack the incoming BLUFOR. But currently, their approach isn't being harassed that much. Sure, there's some sporadic fire coming down at them, but they are currently advancing unmolested.
Yeah, it's really just a two-man element. Looks like they're starting to push a couple more guys in bit by bit. But it's a very slow, consolidated advance.
Let's take a look from REDFOR's perspective. I believe they're actually pinned down inside the Ghost Hotel, and most of these windows are pretty scared to peek out and look at their oncoming attackers.
Well,
but
it's important to point out that the entire eastern side, that front side of Ghost Hotel, is completely illuminated by those street lamps, and that if anybody were to poke into one of those windows or whatever, you can very much easily see them silhouetting. The walls are white on the backdrop of those windows. So if somebody peeks into that window, you see a darkened silhouette, and it's very easy to identify and to fix.
Captain Drake, the closest to the hotel for now, he's pushing forward, crawling towards his next set of trees that outline the perimeter of the hotel proper. He's looking in a pretty good position. I don't really see any enemy contacts that can really spot and kill him at this point. Perhaps this guy, oh yeah, maybe he will be able to. This is Specialist D. Glenn from the 3rd Infantry Division as Greek pushes forward and is not engaged. He is ready to make the first breach of the Ghost Hotel. He doesn't have much support down here yet, but it looks like the cavalry's on its way. The rest of the unit slowly moving forward.
I love this. You know, Dreek is a natural-born leader. He plays with the 2nd MSOB, and this guy has guts. Everything he does is well thought out, and he is the first man at the Ghost Hotel, and his friendlies are moving up on his lead.
So let's get into Dreek's mind right now. He sees enemies firing from the windows above him. The decision is how to take them out. He's got his grenade launcher selected.
I think that was a kill.
Got him.
That was a kill.
Perfect shot. Yep. So, I mean, that's exactly how you deal with that situation. You won't be able to get a line of sight with bullets, so you use explosive. Awesome job, Dreek. As you can see now, the REDFOR are scared. They are pushing back away from that window. That suppressing fire has stopped, and I think they might be alerted that there may be a breach about to happen. They have pushed away from the windows.
I'd like to point out, not to distract it from that southern front, but if you notice the opposite side, the northern front with the BLUFOR forces have cleared out their western flank, where those REDFOR used to preoccupy on their west. It is now completely open, and all of the OPFOR now occupy the hotel.
Now, do you see if there was any REDFOR casualties on that flank, or if they just evacuated the position? I don't see any specific REDFOR casualties.
No, I think they vacated the position.
Yep, so that flank is clear. Everybody has, in terms of REDFOR, has consolidated on the Ghost Hotel. And now it's just a matter of time as BLUFOR continues to advance forward.
I have to be honest, I really like what I've seen from the attacking force so far. Now, granted, the defenders conceded a lot of ground to them. And it's really just going to come down to getting into the Ghost Hotel and clearing it room by room, and which can be a toss-up at times. And I think it's really advantaged defenders. And I think the REDFOR identified that, but I've been really impressed with BLUFOR's movement and how they've set up and gotten to this point.
Yeah, definitely. As we've spoken of earlier, that inside the Ghost Hotel, the defenders are able to look through every little nook and cranny, hold down any hallway with MMGs, and just really be a nuisance, a pain in BLUFOR's side trying to clear that building. So that is where their strategy lies at this point, Star.
What I would really like to see is for BLUFOR to identify. They have numbers that have now pushed up onto the south side of the hotel, and they are now on the building itself. I would really love to see that northern element start, maneuvering some forces onto the north side so that they can breach both the north and the south simultaneously, and put the defenders in a situation where they have multiple fronts that they need to be defending.
Now, this is interesting, Star. I hate to cut you off, sorry, but in terms of dispersion of forces within the Ghost Hotel, we see that actually the northern flank seems to have most of the OPFOR defenders, whereas the southern flank, where the BLUFOR are closest, only have 4 guys, or at least 3 guys, directly watching that flank, as more BLUFOR units begin to pour down and are getting ready to face their first breach into the Ghost Hotel. That's a sizable element ready to go in.
I really like what I'm seeing from Blue. They're moving guys up 2x2s in bounds, and getting some good numbers on there before they start to move in force. Rather than once the first guy got there, he goes in alone, and who knows whether if he kills a guy or gets traded and he goes down. Now he's going to have supporting, and it looks like they're moving up on the door now.
Shots being fired again from that window up above. We'll see if they decide to use the same strategy, launch a GL up there, hopefully push that enemy out.
I really hope they don't launch a GL now with friendly forces on outside the door ready to breach.
It would be definitely a interesting
and
position
there they go.
If that happens. Breach of the Ghost Hotel is completed. They are in. There's no opposition on that ground floor from that entrance. Now it's a battle up the stairway. See how far they can get up. Looking at REDFOR's forces, they have no idea.
And that's a OPFOR on the balcony firing out to the supporting elements to the south up on the high ground.
That grenade may have just given away that BLUFOR are on the stairs, as we see Warall currently looking at that stairwell.
They
BLUFOR fragging it out. Yeah. Now it's a decision of how far do they go up before they breach further into the hotel.
That was a great shot, by the way. The guy in the hallway has fire coming through that window, and BLUFOR is essentially forcing them out of that hallway.
Beautiful. Yeah, they're pushed back. I don't know if they have that great line of sight on that entranceway. Oh, great grenade, taking out 2, 3 BLUFOR on that stairwell. Ouch.
Oh no.
No, that was only 2. That was only 2. I believe that other unit was off 4. Yeah, it was just 2.
Yeah.
Just 2. Never mind.
Oh, bummer.
Those stairwells are deadly for grenade fire, as those 2 BLUFOR soldiers just found out the hard way. Taking a look at the units on the north flank, Whiplash and his elements, that I believe is Infantry Jozo team pushing up. Shots going down inside the Ghost Hotel now. This
is awesome. My heart is racing right now.
BLUFOR have got to make a decision in terms of where they're going to push their breach forward. It looks like they have stopped advancing upwards and are advancing inwards inside the Ghost Hotel on that ground floor.
Yeah, they now have elements outside the hotel pushing that. I guess that's the western side now and breaching the first floor on the far west outside the hotel.
There's no OB4 here to meet them as well, so this breach is going to be successful. But again, the hardest part now is advancing up those stairwells and trying to push the BLUFOR or REDFOR up from the higher floors. We see a REDFOR soldier advancing forward, taking fire from down the hallway. Wasn't able to be taken down. Oh, there he goes. Great fire from Cupcake down on the BLUFOR side on the first floor.
I really like what I'm seeing from Blue on this southern front, clearing this hotel. Very impressive.
Yeah, now it looks like on that northern front as well, they have just finally decided to open up with suppressing fire, locking BLUFOR inside the stairwells and not able to fire outside those windows. So
Mike,
any BLUFOR on that approach are pretty much sealed.
I'd like to take this time just to re-emphasize that, you know, how awesome this is to see, seen as though that everybody in here, there's about 8 to 10 different ARMA communities represented here that aren't necessarily, you know, they don't train the same, they don't practice the same, they don't always play together. And to see this level of coordination between nearly a dozen different ARMA communities and this level of execution is just, it speaks volumes to the ARMA communities themselves, and this is very impressive to watch.
Yeah, definitely. We see these players able to adapt with other people that they're not necessarily used to playing with other play styles. And it's working out pretty darn well as we see precision tactics in terms of breaching and clearing procedures just being affected by the BLUFOR forces at this time. REDFOR still having a pretty solid position outside those upper floors of the Ghost Hotel. BLUFOR is currently limited to the first and second floor. BLUFOR units slowly advancing forward. Soon they're going to be at the Rotunda area of the Ghost Hotel,
Mike,
and they definitely are up there.
I have one concern here, and I hope that BLUFOR identifies this, because as they continue to clear the Ghost Hotel, and they're moving through, and they have not yet encountered any hostages, I hope that they can identify that they're closing in on hostage locations, and that they show discipline using frags, and I just don't want to see them move in and notice that there is a large OPFOR occupied area that remains, and that, you know, hostages could very well be in that location, and to show discipline with their employment of frag grenades and the such.
Well, at this point, they've narrowed down the hostage locations. They're not on the first floor, that's for sure. Moving up to the second floor, half of the second floor has been cleared. That southern half of the second floor. So there's really 3 locations left where the hostages could be. The third floor, south and north, as well as the second floor up to the north.
Yep.
And it turns out that they are on the north side of the third floor.
Yep. Which really, it plays into the defenders. I think they may have identified that there was really no way for the BLUFOR to move in and breach that north side, and that's the reasoning for putting the hostages on the third floor on the north side. Is identifying that most likely that's the most difficult place that they could get to, you know, to get to those hostages.
Yep, definitely. We see a BLUFOR element attempting to make his way up to that second floor. Third floor took fire as he peeked out of that stairwell. He's going to be disengaging, pulling back, possibly launching a smoke or frag of some kind. Ooh, interesting frags. No kills.
Where's that fire coming from?
I believe it was perhaps on the north flank towards the units on the northern hill. Yeah, that's where the...
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
No, there's fire on the south side. It's on the stairwell. That's where it was. BLUFOR just went down. Third floor stairwell. There's a slew of bodies in there now.
Yeah, the main stairwell on the third floor, there's one there. He's been there for a while. But BLUFOR still have this third floor locked down.
I don't know how they're going to get up on that third floor.
It's got to be from that southern side, right? I mean,
yeah.
It looks like REDFOR has further evacuated that southern stairwell. If they push up that southern stairwell, they may just have a free break into this hotel.
Here's the thing. That northern element that is sitting up on that hill outside of Ghost Hotel, they need to get mobile, and they need to get in there and support these guys that are inside the hotel, because 4 guys in there, they're not going to be able to do the job.
This is what we were talking about, Star, earlier when we were saying that, you know, pushing the Ghost Hotel one unit at a time tends to breed negative results. You got to push it all at once, get your bodies in there, and start clearing it, because you are going to take more casualties than the defender. That's given. It's just a matter of forcing your way through.
Absolutely. And really, I feel like the BLUFOR's sole hope right now relies on this 3-man element in the center of the second floor.
They've just pushed up, yeah.
Yeah, those are the guys that I'm following right now, and I really feel like if Blue has a chance here, a lot of it's going to fall on what these guys are able to do.
REDFOR's got the stairwell locked down. No! REDFOR goes down to BLUFOR fire on top of that center stairwell. It is totally clear on that way up. They can break into the center of the third floor with relatively little casualties. There's still one guy watching it, but the main stairwell watcher has been neutralized from the window.
And he knows his Blue there. And he's going to get a frag down there. He's moving into position. No, he's moving into fire.
Down, one down. Oh, goes down to the second on the ground. Drop shot like it's no one's business.
I don't necessarily agree with that.
What?
I think he should have probably fragged it. I don't know why he ran down there. He wasn't sure what was down there.
Maybe he was out of frags. I mean, they've been defending for a while.
That's true.
There could be a variety of options. We see BLUFOR breaching on the third floor from the north side. Ooh, that was an interesting engagement. Fire and moving. He's now inside the third floor, possibly moving.
I don't know how he got up there.
Yeah, I mean, that was just a weird exchange of fire. They were just firing and moving at each other. But they are pushing forward slowly. BLUFOR might be able to flank the REDFOR on this side, and he's currently not watching his flank, currently watching the hallway.
Yeah.
Ooh, grenade goes off. That may have injured him. That was pretty close. He's still alive, however.
I would really like to see Frank push the balcony, which he is.
Yeah, that center stairwell, though, is still occupied by BLUFOR. Frank
he's going to get him. He's got him.
Ooh, through the balcony. Takes him down. That's another OPFOR defender neutralized. The OPFOR only control the second,
north,
I believe. Yeah, yeah, just the second and third floor on the northern side. Hostages currently defended by one OPFOR soldier.
Is that
one hostage down for whatever reason?
Are we down to 4 REDFOR?
I count 4 REDFOR remaining.
Oh man!
Wow, that numbers game here is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, great push by BLUFOR at any case, and you know, suppressing fire perhaps from the northern side just kept the units, the REDFOR units on the northern side of the Ghost Hotel locked in, unable to really maneuver inside the hotel for fear that their side would be breached. And as a result, this southern side was just, you know, pushed back by sheer BLUFOR, I guess, acumen in terms of tactics and breaching, as well as manpower.
Well, you know, we were saying that it's going to come down to that 3-man element that's in the hotel still, and these 3 guys still remain, albeit it's not the same 3 guys because Frank pushed up and he makes the third. But it's still these 3 guys, and so far they've shown that they've come to play and they've been able to do it, and they've been the answer. We'll see.
Star, there is only, yeah, 1 unit on this third floor watching the hostage. He's the last unit remaining on the third floor. The other 2 OPFOR units are watching the stairwell on that northern side. There's only 1 unit left on the third floor. BLUFOR.
A hostage made a run for it, and he went down.
Yeah, I saw that. Oh, this guy watching the doorway seems to be just standing around. That's 2 hostages down, 3 remain. BLUFOR pushing up slowly. I mean, again, Frank is the only person on that third floor. Not for long, as there's another unit advancing up that northern or southern side stairwell. Oh, this might be it, Star. Oh, if he decides to make the balcony push, this could be the end of the game as BLUFOR secures the hostages. But he's deciding to advance possibly down this hallway, and if he makes a push into the actual complex, there's a green 4 hostage blocking that entryway, with the REDFOR defender slyly hiding behind that body, able to shoot anyone that comes through that doorway. But nope, he's pushing through the balconies. Well, maybe just taking a look. On the second floor,
yep,
shots coming down that hallway.
And they're going to be very close.
Yeah, they might be flanked. They're fragging out that hallway. Nothing.
They're both holding the same sector.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Yeah, they're going to get hit from behind here. Oh, they're looking.
There's one looking. He's got him. Didn't shoot.
I was waiting for him to pull the trigger, and he just let him go.
Well, they're chasing him now, Star. Here we go.
Oh
and
my God.
there they go. They remedies the problem. That R4 goes down on the center stairwell.
I don't know what that was.
That stairwell is just full of bodies and carnage all around. I count 6 guys down there. Yeah. Frank has pushed to the other side of that main center hallway into a room that is barricaded to prevent him moving any further north.
We're now down to 2 REDFOR remaining.
BLUFOR finally deciding to push in on that northern side. About ready to face a breach. There they go, breaching the bottom
And
stairwell.
that's 1 red remaining with 2 hostages.
Wow, so this is going to be an interesting final engagement as BLUFOR's swarming around him. What is he going to do?
Really what it comes down to is BLUFOR is going to come out, you know, on top with just BLUFOR remaining, but if they're able to take out this last red guy without him harming
he might be able to see them. Here we go. Final engagement of the match, and it comes out with a BLUFOR victory. He shot the hostages.
He almost got the hostage.
Didn't kill them. But that is 2 hostages.
And now he's shooting friendlies. Oh, no.
Didn't kill anybody, I don't think, but that's all 4 eliminated.
He died.
Oh, wow, yeah, his body slumped on the wall, but either way, that is a green for victory. 2 hostages remain. What a great matchup for Friday Night Fright.
That was great, Mike. Thanks so much for doing this, and it's always a blast. That was very entertaining. It played out very much as what we predicted from the start, and it was you know, slow to start, a lot of positioning, and then it ramped up with all the CQB at the end, which was, you know, heart-pounding and very enjoyable to watch.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more great shoutcasting content to come, as well as check out Bravo Company's website down in the description to be playing in games such as this, we'd love to have you join up. And until next time, I'm MicOne, and you're awesome.